Hello everyone, it's Eleanor from Cruzy Creations here. Today I would like to show you how to make one of these peg bags. In a previous video I mentioned how to do the encapsulated buttonhole effect, and it does prove to be quite sturdy and strong. So it's a good way that I know how to make a peg bag. Well, for the whole bit for the peg bag anyway. So yes, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you will need, obviously, is the material. You need an outer and a lining. The first thing that we will be doing is creating the buttonhole. The first thing I would like to point out is this is one long piece of material. I would recommend doing this because if you cut and sew, it might not be as strong, whereas if it's just one long piece of material and it's curved to put the pegs in, it's going to be a lot stronger. So that's all I want to say about that. The next thing is to create the buttonhole. I have a ruler and a piece of tailor's chalk. I have already made the first line, but I'll show you how I did it. You need, well, for this, there's 3 squares. I use the middle square and 1 inch on either side of that middle square, and that seems to make a big enough hole for me. So you start there and go up to 1 inch that way, like that. I think that's made it a bit thicker. Then what you need to do is do 1/2 inch on either side of the line that you've just created to make a box that we're going to sew around. Like so, on either side of that line, and then you just join up the lines you've just created. And because it's tailor's chalk, it will obviously come out in the wash, so don't worry about having any stains. So this is what we end up with. I think you can see. So we have a line in the middle and then a box cover around that line. What we're going to do is sew all the way around that box, and then we're going to cut along that middle line. Okay, so we are at the sewing machine now. I have stuck a couple of pins in. I think you can see one of them, one on either side, just to keep the 2 pieces of material even. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is, as I mentioned previously, is sew around that box that we have drawn. It's very straightforward to do, just following a line. and then when you come back to where you started, just give a couple of back stitches and forward, and there you have the box that you drew sewn around. Okay, so as you can see, we have now sewn around the box that we drew. So now we can take those 2 pins out, go back in there, and also cut our thread, excess thread on the other side. And now we're going to cut along that middle line. So what we do is first of all just pick up the middle and make a slit, just so it's easier to get your scissors in, and then just cut and leave about 1 centimetre before the line that you sewed, so that you can make like an arrow shape up, nearly up to that line. That way when we fold it, the lining all inside out, it will look neater. So again on the other side, leave about 1 centimetre before the end of the box, and then make 2 lines up to the 2 corners like that. Then what we do is we fold this inside out. So you get your lining and just fold it. I forgot to mention before, you need to have, if there's a right side and a wrong side to your material and lining, you need to have the materials right sides together. Mine don't have a right side or a wrong side, so it didn't matter, but for future reference you need to have those 2 bits of material right sides together. So now you can see this is right way out now, and what we're now going to do is sew all the way around, top stitch all the way around to keep the lining inside, so it will look more, well, it will look neater. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so we're back at the sewing machine. I'm going to now top stitch all the way around that opening that we have created. So forward a few, back a few, and then back. And I'm leaving about a 1/8 inch border around the opening, all the way around, go to the end, pull the lining as taut as possible to make the shorter edges that much neater. Again with the other side, just pull the lining a bit so that it looks neater. You can of course use pins to keep your work in place, but I find it easier when I top stitch not to have pins. last bit. And then when you get to the end, do a few back stitches forward, and then you have it. So I've got this little cutter, thread cutter on the edge of my sewing machine. I will be doing a review of my sewing machine in a future video, so if you're interested. It's a Janome Sewist 525S. I will be doing a review on this in a later video. Okay, so I will set up again and I will show you where we are now. Okay, so now as you can see, we have the top stitch marks around the outside of the opening. Now what we're going to do is make the bag. So what we do is we just make sure everything's matched up, and we just fold this in half. So it's very straightforward. And I am going to pin this, but what you do is you leave about a 1 to 1.5 inch gap at the top, because that is where the hanger is going to go. I don't have my hangers at the moment. I'm still waiting for them. I have ordered them, waiting for them to be delivered. So yes, you leave about a 1 to 1.5 inch gap at the top. But I'm just going to pin the outside, and I will be back and I will start sewing. Okay, so back at the sewing machine. What I'm now going to do is start from the bottom where the fold is and go up and sew up all the way until the start of the opening for the hanger, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So again, start from the bottom and work up that way. It makes the bottom look a bit neater because material can shuffle and stuff. So here we go. Forward a bit, back stitch and okay, I did the other side off of the camera. I just thought it would be a bit boring to have me just doing that. And I've also trimmed the edges and cut the leftover threads, but I missed one. There we go. Now we're going to turn it inside out. So you can either do this through the opening at the top or through the bigger hole, so it makes sense to do it through the bigger hole. Push your corners out nicely. I don't cut my corners. I don't find that makes them less sturdy, so I just don't do that. They can come undone, the stitching, so I just leave them. They might not be a perfect right angle, but I'd rather them last than be a perfect right angle. So just doing that, and there you have your very own peg bag with an encapsulated buttonhole. if you can see. So yes, with a opening for your hanger. So I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. I did get this idea from a lady on YouTube. I can't remember her name, but I will put the link in the description box below for her video. She showed you how to do the buttonhole, and she was making a peg bag. She didn't actually show you how to make the peg bag on the video. I think it's on a blog post of hers. So this is how you make a peg bag with an encapsulated buttonhole. You would, if you had a hanger, you just put it up inside there. Okay, so this is the finished peg bag. I hope you enjoyed this video. I did get this idea off of another lady on YouTube. I can't remember her name, but I will put a link in the description box below for her video. She showed you how to do the buttonhole tip. She didn't show you how she made the peg bag on the video, but it was on a blog post of hers apparently. So yes, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I try and post 1 or 2 videos per week, and I will see you all next week. Bye.